Meeting.
Okay, thank you.
We're recording.
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 8:02. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for
for
all.
all. The Board of Education accepts the minutes of the Board of Education meetings held on August 5th, August 24th, and August 27th, 2020, as detailed in the Friday mailing. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing everybody.
So moved.
By Mrs. Reed.
Seconded by Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Board of Education accepts the minutes of the Board of Education. I'm sorry, I apologize. Board of Education acknowledges receipt of the Treasurer's report for the months of June and July 2020 as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Mrs. Reed. Sorry. Seconded by
Mrs. Coles.
Coles. Thank you. All those in favor?
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I will turn the meeting over to the Superintendent of Schools.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to start tonight by turning it over to Mr. Anthony Mignella, our Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, who is going to do a presentation on the highlights of summer 2020.
Anthony?
Good evening. Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Cami, Board of Education, and Baldwin Community. I'm going to share my screen. So just give me one moment, please. Ms. Hobbs, do you mind making me a co-host so I can share my screen, please?
Yeah, I'm looking to figure that out. I don't.
I just did. You should be a co-host.
You did. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mignella, I'm going to make
Give
you
me 1 second.
Is it working? If not, I'll make you the host.
Give me 1 second to try one thing. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. I should be coming over now.
Perfect.
Can you see the screen?
There we go.
Yes, everyone sees highlights from summer 2020. Wonderful. Thank you for your patience. In tonight's presentation, we're going to go over some end of year 2020 results, as well as the highlights from the summer. So I'd like to start by first walking you through our graduation rate trends. The chart you see before you is a 5-year graduation rate trend, which is quite impressive. And you'll see in June of 2016, our student body graduated at a rate of 92%. And since then, we are now hovering and remain consistent at 96, 97%. The few students who did not graduate, there were 8 students out of a class of approximately 400 that did not graduate due to various different reasons. And including this population also was a small group of ungraded students, which are the state holds against us when they turn age of 17 in 9th grade. They count against us in accountability reports, which is why you see 96%. But we really had 8 students who, out of a class of about 400, were unable to graduate, who then went to summer school. So this is very impressive when compared to the rest of Nassau County, Suffolk County, New York State. And what's quite impressive is that there was relatively no gap between the various subgroups in terms of our graduation rate. Another impressive trend from 2019-2020 was the increase in the number of advanced placement students. This has been a goal of the districts. We've added AP courses, as the Board of Education knows, and it's showing now in our end-of-year results. Despite COVID and the changes in the AP examination process, we still had a number of students take the exam. So we had 482 total AP students, which is an increase from 2014, 2015 school year. We also went up in the number of exams taken. Several of our students did elect not to take an AP exam this year due to the fact that school was not in session during from March on. So that was an option that they did have this year. But despite that, we went up in our number of exams, and there was an increase in the number of AP students with scores of 3 or better. A lot of this data is attributed to the fact that we have started to offer our 9th grade students AP Human Geography in lieu of Global 1. So last year we had about 5 sections to this. This year that has increased, I believe, to about 7 sections of 9th grade students taking an AP exam during their first year of high school, which is, again, I feel a very impressive trend for our district.
Ms. Mignella, the percentage of students approximately in that 9th grade that were in that course is about what, 50%?
Last year, it was approximately 125 students out of, it's a little bit lower than that rate. It's more closer to 25%, 30%.
Okay, thank you.
Of 9th graders in that cohort. And this year it's gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal ultimately is to keep increasing the number of 9th graders who take that course each year. So this year it's gone up, and hopefully next year we'll add another section or 2 and continue to do so. So the data I just showed you has led the school district to be recognized by New York State for a 2nd year in a row. We're one of a few school districts that have received an honor known as a recognition school from New York State Board of Education. And this has put us in the same award recognition program as schools like Jericho, Syosset. So we're honored to be part of that group. And it's largely due to the students working diligently and hard, our parents at home supporting our initiatives, the Board of Education, and our teachers and supervisors working very diligently to ensure that we challenge students with a rich and rigorous curriculum. Another highlight for end of year is, for the first time, Baldwin High School has been recognized by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best high schools. This is a great ranking, and there's a lot of different criteria that is analyzed for a school to be recognized by this, starting from our ELA Regent scores, our math Regent scores, AP participation, graduation rates, dual course offerings. So this is a wonderful recognition, and we're going to continue to try to become #1 on this list. This brings us to our summer programs this year. All 3 summer programs that we offered were virtual. We're going to start with our secondary summer school program for the high school. The primary goal of this program was to provide students with credit recovery. We also, this year, for the first time, provided reading and math instruction to identified middle school students in grades 6, 7, and 8. And this was due to the fact that we did miss some instruction time as a result of COVID, and we wanted to make sure that that COVID learning loss coupled with summer learning loss was minimized as much as possible. So we created a unique program this year during the summer program for our middle school students to take ELA math instruction through iReady, and we had teacher support offered to them throughout the summer. The program ran for 4 weeks. There was a total of 20 days of instruction. We started the program earlier than normal because it was a virtual program, so we were able to do that. And we wanted to make sure students transitioned very quickly to summer program, and we didn't lose any students over the summer. Each course was 80 minutes of instruction per day. And as I said before, we provide instruction for students in grades 6 through 12 total. Which is a graduation requirement. Mm-hmm. So the program outcomes from the summer, Mr. Jason White was the summer principal, and he reported that there were a total of 687 students between students in grades 6 through 12. So this is our middle school students as well. So the number looks a little bit larger than normal. But again, that is because we included a large number of middle school students in this particular program this summer. The teachers used Google Meets in Google Classroom to offer instruction with an asynchronous and synchronous format. And I'm very proud to announce that an additional 5 students out of that 8 were able to meet their graduation requirements. So our high school 4-year August graduation rate is at 97%. And kudos to our students and our family and our teachers for that outstanding number. And our district number, which includes out-of-district placement students, is at 95%, which has gone up from the previous years also. So once again, great work for everyone involved in the program. We thank the Board of Education, Dr. Cami, for her leadership and for all the support that the board provides us. The next program we ran this summer was our E&L summer program. Once again, we were very concerned with any sort of potential learning loss that might have transpired as a result of COVID and summer. Dr. Kalamalis organized this particular program and it was full virtual once again. It's paid from one of our Title III grants. And they were servicing students in grades K through 8. We had a total of 45 ELL students participate in the program. 4 ENL teachers provided instruction, and was all done through Google Meet and Google Classroom. We also had, in conjunction for the ENL program, 2 student teachers to provide assistance. And the pedagogical areas that they focused on were speaking practice, interactive read alouds, discussions, small guided reading groups, and writing as well. The next program we offered was organized by Ms. Melanie Hirsch. This is our extended school year special education program. The goals of this program was, once again, to really just increase students' success in math and reading proficiency. And Ms. Hirsch does a wonderful job making sure that she includes opportunities for social and cultural awareness in her program. This program had 10 full classes of our special education students. Teachers, once again, use Google Meets as the primary vehicle to deliver their instruction, but they also use some other technology methods as well. Similar format to the other 2 programs, which was synchronous and asynchronous work throughout the course of this summer. And that concludes our brief presentation on our highlights of our summer programs.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Mignella? Again, I'm sorry, I can't see you. You're going to have to yell if...
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Mignella, when you talked about the different graduation rates and you said 95% was the out-of-district placement rate, what does that actually mean?
So 95% was our district graduation rate. So when we report accountability to New York State, we report for our high school itself.
Okay.
Which are students who attend our high school, as well as all the students who would reside in Baldwin.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So the district number tends to be sometimes a little bit lower because those are students who do attend BOCES placements, and that's an out-of-district placement. So they go to any one of our BOCES programs, Iris Wolfson, CCA Net, etc.
A child going to Sacred Heart or Chaminade, is that also out of
Those students are not included in that data.
They live here, but they're not included. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, is there anyone else? Let's see everyone, so. Okay, as long as I don't see any hands, thank you very much, Mr. Mignella. That was really a great report. It's amazing that we accomplished as much as we did over the summer, which has been really chaotic for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Cami, do you have anything else before I introduce the Innovation 2020?
I do. So while Mr. Mignella is going to be bringing that up, let me just give you my regular report, and then I'll turn it over to you to introduce the Innovation 2020 presentation. So I want to share with the board and the community that we have been, even in this kind of crazy environment, it was a very busy summer. We have are almost done with bathroom renovations at the middle school and high school. I know that people were anxiously awaiting those. They're stunning. And so the bathrooms at the middle school, high school, our playground area and outdoor area in Meadow which has been problematic for a really, really long time because of the type of soil. They have been working on that all summer long. Again, it's stunning. It's so incredibly beautiful. And our courtroom in Schubert School for our Baldwin High School at Schubert, Simon Youth Foundation made a donation to redo that learning space. And so that mirrors the courtroom that we have at Baldwin High School. It's beautiful. I want to once again just comment on the graduation rate. I do hope that the board and the community doesn't start taking those numbers for granted. Not because you shouldn't expect those numbers, you should absolutely expect those numbers. But to go from 92% to 96 or 97%, while it sounds like it's only 4 or 5 percentage points, it's a really, it's much harder to go from 92% to 97% than it is to go from 82% to 87%. And that is, Mr. Mignella is sort of very shy about this, but it is in large part due to his efforts in looking at the data consistently and making sure that we are pushing to make sure that our kids progress. The other part of that is the advanced Regents diploma rate. And I will say that in large part, the movement in both of those numbers, but particularly in advanced Regents diploma, has a lot to do with the achievement in mathematics at the high school. And last on that report is I just want to point out the numbers for AP. So College Board last year basically said you don't have to take the AP exam because of everything that was going on. Not only did we have so many more kids enrolled in AP courses, which there's a direct link, there's a lot of research behind students taking college level courses in high school and their success when they move on to college. But their achievement in that level, and knowing that ninth graders, some of whom are, they're 14 years old, are taking college level courses and being successful at it is just a tremendous achievement, I think. I shared with the board, and I want to share with the community, that a 2016 graduate, Sade Green, was published in Teen Vogue magazine, and she did an op-ed, and her op-ed piece was about her encounter with Congressman John Lewis when she was a congressional intern. And
Yeah.
I just want to point to you, that is a Baldwin High School graduate from 2016. That's only 4 years ago that she graduated high school. To have an op-ed published in Teen Vogue, based on her experience with Congressman John Lewis, is just, it actually makes my hair stand up. I want to point out to everybody that it's the second day of school. We have been all over Newsday. We've been in Home and Gardens magazine. We've been everywhere. And today we were on Channel 11 News for the amazing musical talents, the COVID musical talents of our Lennox faculty. If you haven't seen it, the only thing I would warn you is that you will be singing that song in your head for many, many hours to come. It was a wonderful piece. It's been posted on Facebook or Instagram, and it'll be on our website tomorrow. But kudos to the faculty at Lennox for having the courage to sing and dance in public. And the last thing that I just want to comment on before we move to Innovation 2020 is the opening of school. I know that that we, I think, made it look easy, our opening. But the amount of work that went into getting our schools ready was just nothing short of a miracle. And it is due in large part to the team that you see sitting here. Michelle Gallo and James Robinson and Anthony Mignella. There was no summer vacation for any of us, but it was really even magnified more than that, because there was no Saturday and there was no Sunday and there was no 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. And that's because of their dedication to the school district and to this community. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that publicly. I think opening has gone really, really smoothly. It is not without its glitches. I don't want to say that anything is perfect. It's not. I want the board and the community to know that we continue to evaluate every single practice every single day. And when something is not up to standard, we are working to adjust and to fix. There's been nothing glaring at this point. Compared to what it could have been, it was, our families were just outstanding. I was at Lenox and Brookside, and I mean, the kids were standing on their dots and the parents were off to the sides, standing 6 feet apart. Just absolutely outstanding. I did not see a single kindergartner cry in either school. It's just been, it has been a very, very smooth opening in the midst of craziness. You know, I want you to know that. I want you to know that we continue to evaluate every single day. And if we need to make adjustments, we will make adjustments. We will make it look easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy, but that's what we're committed to do. Mrs. O'Hagan, do you want to introduce the presentation for innovation?
I do. The Board of Education has decided to go forward and put the Innovation 2020 bond before the public on October 1st. I know it seems a lifetime ago, but the vote was originally scheduled for March 18th. It was canceled due to a change in the governor's directives and a concern about health risk to voters. You may ask, why now? The district put a great deal of time and money into explaining and publicizing all the elements of the bond proposal, and I hope that information is still relatively fresh in people's minds. Beyond that, however, if anything, as well as the air conditioning, we would have been better able to accommodate in-person learning in greater numbers. When the original vote was canceled, we heard from many community members who were disappointed and who asked us to schedule a new vote. The positive energy surrounding the proposal in the spring, along with the lessons learned during the pandemic, seemed to create a favorable climate for the community to speak on this issue. Details on voting places and times will follow. An Innovation 2020 Baldwin Beat will be in the mailboxes shortly. We are confident that we can provide a safe environment for voters, and directions for mail-in voting are on our website. There will be a formal presentation on Innovation 2020 on September 16th at 7 p.m. And Dr. Kami will now give us a recap of that proposal.
So tonight, I'm just going to do a very short presentation of kind of the highlights of what is in the Innovation 2020 proposal. Mr. Mignella, would you mind bringing up that screen? Thank you. So again, Innovation 2020 is really all about planning for our children's future. This is about the students in Baldwin. You know, we've talked a lot about, it's sort of ironic in a way that we're talking about meeting the challenge of contemporary learning when we have separated all of our desks and chairs and separated them by 6 feet. But, you know, we know that a year from now, we will be back in what is a fairly normal environment. And so this is about contemporary learning. So I think that we've demonstrated that the We Are Innovative really does fit the Baldwin brand. And so we are believe that this next step in supporting innovation in Baldwin is really attached to the facilities that we currently have. We have very traditional buildings that were built a very long time ago. They are big boxes with little squares in them that we call classrooms. And we're looking for the opportunity to make the classrooms far more flexible than they currently are. To go back a couple of steps, this question of how did we get to this idea of Innovation 2020? We have really been contemporizing instruction, kindergarten through grade 12. Again, we're on hiatus for the 2021 school year, but we have maintained our facilities. We have state mandated building condition surveys that's done by our district's architects and engineers. We inspect and review all of our major structural components of our buildings that are listed there. Our last building condition survey was in 2015, and we're due for one in the future. And we have really worked on innovating our classrooms in all of our classroom redesigns. And so we've contemporized instruction. The next step from that is our facilities. We have maintained the backbone of our facilities. We have redone some classroom redesigns, but at the heart of it is the actual structure of our buildings. So the question becomes, what's next? It's important to recognize that Innovation 2020 is a multi-year, multi-funded capital projects initiative. This is not just about asking the community for money for a bond. We have been through the whole process of the Smart Schools Bond Initiative. It was finally approved. We have gone back because we had done it so long ago to bring it back up to the standards of 2020, 2021. And we are tweaking it a bit, and then we'll be ready to spend that money. That was $2.6 million that was afforded to Baldwin, which is going to infrastructure, technology infrastructure, electrical infrastructure to improve not only the technology in our school system, but also security in our school system. We have a multi-year capital reserve. We have been doing things like this year, we're installing an elevator in Plaza School. And so we have kind of saved up money. We open up capital reserves. We fund the capital reserves. None of that can be done without vote or approval. It doesn't cost the community extra funding. And so we have been updating our facilities in this multi-year capital reserve. Again, we've done roofs, we've done windows, we've replaced doors, and this year we are doing the Plaza elevator. Again, we have a multi-year capital budget. Unfortunately, the way budgets are structured these days, since the tax cap, there's not a lot that you can put in for capital improvements in your regular budget. But, a lot of general maintenance, and again, things like the elevator. Why an elevator, you might ask? To keep up with ADA compliance, we need to make sure that the American with Disabilities Act and all of the rules and regulations under that legislation is complied with. And so in a multi-level building, you need to be able to make sure that a person with disabilities can access any floor in that building. We've gone after legislative grants. We've been pretty successful at that. We've gotten close to $200,000 in legislative grants. We have applied to the county to use part of those grants for new smart lockers. And finally, yes, finally, the marquee is up on Grand Avenue. It took a while, but we got it done. So we're proud of that, and it's actually stunning on Grand Avenue. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with only one last choice, and that last choice is a capital bond. You might ask, why a capital bond? Why not continue to do it the way we've done it? Smart Schools Bond was a one-shot deal, and we are using that within the confines of how we're allowed to use it. In capital reserves and capital budgets, there just is not the money to do the size capital improvements that we need to do. I would love to tell you that the legislative grants will cover, $250 million, but it won't, or $150 million, and it won't. So it only leaves one last option, and that is to go to the community to update the schools for this next generation of learners as previous generations have done for current learners. So we have gotten community input from a community input forum back in October 26, 2016. Wow, that was 4 years ago. And we did a thought exchange last fall, fall of 2019. We had more than 375 participants. More than 465 thoughts were shared. I do want to point out to everyone that this was not only shared within the school community, but the PTA put posters everywhere, in Geno's, in the bagel store, you name it. There was a poster there with a QR code that you could scan and give us your feedback. So, you might ask, what did this feedback provide? Mr. Mignella, you might ask, what did this feedback provide? So the results of thought exchange really gave us oh, Mr. Mignella, back it up there, what some of the top priorities were. I will tell you, as I'm sure you already know, we would go into any given room at any one of our many, many presentations last year. And I asked, so what do you think the top request was? And people in unison said air conditioning. We could have never recognized that a pandemic was ahead of us. I can tell you that our teachers and our administrators have done an outstanding job, getting our kids back. We've been lucky so far that it hasn't been brutally hot, but I can tell you in years past, by the middle of October, we can't wait for the summer to end because the heat just builds up in our buildings. The top priorities from the community were air conditioning, updated bathrooms, new athletic facilities, a modernized performing arts center, kitchens in our elementary schools, an updated library media center at the high school, and enhanced learning and collaborative spaces. And so we took the results of thought exchange. We made sure that all of the top priorities of the community were emphasized and embedded in the capital bond. So it's important to recognize it was based on student and community input. I'm not going to read everything, but you can see that the list is lengthy. At the high school, it's air conditioning, it's corridor improvements, and it's a new gym, a new athletic center, lockers and storage, brand new press box, new renovations outside, ADA compliance, a new media center, and a new performing arts center, creating room partitions in a new auditorium so that we could have a new performing arts center but make a big space small, existing auditorium renovations, really exciting things like resurfacing the parking areas. Not everything can be exciting, some just have to get done. New field lighting and parking lots, restoration of the mural in the commons, a new home and career interior renovation, renovating cafeteria A and B and the vestibule outside the cafeteria area, and proposed elevators in the 300 and 500 wing, because in order to get across and up and down, it's extremely congested in certain areas of the high school, and it takes a long time to get from one side of the building to the other. In the middle school, it's generally air conditioning, a turf field, brick work, and replacing the HVAC units in the gym. And at the elementary schools, it's air conditioning. It's a new kitchen so that we can upgrade our breakfast and lunch program. It includes a serving line in the cafeteria, ADA compliant toilets, and additional space in every elementary building. So we've sort of coined the term innovatrium. It's a made up word, but we like it. We're going to stick with it. And so it's new innovative spaces in each of our elementary buildings. So the new date for the vote is Thursday, October 1st. We have moved the vote from the high school to the district office because there are no active students in the building. We can have people come in on the Hastings Street entrance, go vote, exit on Hastings Street. So it is starting at 7 a.m., ending at 10 p.m. You can register in person, and you can also request to register by mail. Does the board have any questions?
I
Okay.
don't see any hands up.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mignola.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mignola, and thank you, Dr. Kami. All right, the next item on our agenda is comments and reports from the Board of Education, and I would ask for a point of personal privilege to speak first. I don't know, we may have a photo that we can post, but I will
Oh,
start.
yeah. Mr. Mignola, do you have, which one is first, science or?
The Scope Award.
Mr. Mignola, do you have that?
I believe Ms. Hobbs has the photos.
I have it. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see that?
No.
No. Okay. Now?
It's coming. There you go.
There it is. There
Okay.
it is. Okay. One of the things the pandemic has taken from us is the opportunity to celebrate in person the achievements and accomplishments of friends and community members. SCOPE is a Long Island provider of educational services, and every year the organization presents awards to people who have made extraordinary contributions to their schools and communities. These awards are given at an annual dinner before a crowd of between 1,000 and 2,000 people. This year, the dinner was canceled due to COVID-19, and Baldwin's own Susan Aksionoff was not able to accept her well-deserved award in front of family, friends, and admirers. Susan is an alum of Baldwin High School and has served for many years, most recently as president of the Baldwin Foundation for Education. The foundation's work includes a newsletter for alumni, various alumni activities, as well as grants to teachers in Baldwin and scholarships for Baldwin students. We are so grateful to Susan for her work on behalf of the community and school district, and incredibly proud of her selection for this award. Congratulations, Susan. Okay. Okay, Mr. Mignola, next picture. Bill Sawyers was a science teacher and an icon. During his teaching tenure in Baldwin, he ran from 1950 to 1986. He earned a master's degree from Columbia University and a doctorate from Penn State. He proposed the original honors biology course at Baldwin, developed a science research skills program that truly put Baldwin's science program on the map. Doc Sawyers coached the rifle team and mentored both students and colleagues alike. He fostered a generation of doctors, scientists, and researchers, and was named New York State Teacher of the Year in 1982, as well as being awarded an honorary doctorate from Adelphi. Dr. William Sawyers passed away this last March at the age of 92, and his colleagues ordered a plaque and asked that it be hung in the science department of Baldwin High School in his memory. We will be accepting the donation of this plaque later on in tonight's agenda. So, yay, Doc. And one last announcement on behalf of the board. We would like to go on record with sincere gratitude for the Herculean effort put forth by our administrative staff during the spring and summer. Our superintendent, Dr. Kami, our assistant superintendents, Mr. Mignella, Dr. Gallo, Dr. Robinson, our decorator, maybe so, Director of Facilities, Russ Randazzo, and Director of Pupil Services, Sharice Young, in particular, put in long hours and longer days, crafting plans and scenarios only to see them tossed as Albany changed direction. Vacation schedules went out the window, and often when someone did decide to take a day, we would find out later that no, they worked because it didn't seem possible to step away even for a day. It's a small thing, but an important thing for us to just say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to speak about during comments from the board? I'm seeing you're going to have to yell out if you have something. Okay. Not seeing anything, then we will proceed with the meeting. The Board of Education approves the Personnel Actions Report as addended, dated September 9th, 2020, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed, seconded
Seconded by Mr. Smith.
by Mr. Smith. Because this involves the names of individual staff members, we do not discuss it in public. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Board of Education approves the actions of the Superintendent of Schools as Board of Education Executive Officer to the Committee on Special Education, Sub-CSE, the Committee on Preschool Special Education, and 504 Committee for services in January, February, March, April, May, June, and July 2020, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Dreska. This involves the names of students, so we do not discuss it in public. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the business agenda.
Excuse me, Mrs. O'Hagan?
Yes, we are going to take a vote on
Home tutoring?
I apologize.
Thank you.
Board of Education approves the home tutoring and special education service reports as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed. Seconded
Mrs. Dreska,
by
second.
Mrs. Dreska. Again, it involves the names of students, so we do not discuss it in public. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. As Board President, I am calling for consideration of a consent agenda for business items 1 and 4 through 14. Are there any items that the members would like to withdraw from consideration on the consent agenda for further discussion and a separate vote? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, including business items 1 and 4 through 14?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Dreska, seconded by Mr. Smith.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then do I have a motion to approve business items 1 and 4 through 14?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Coles, seconded by Mr. Smith. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I direct your attention to business items 2 and 3, which we will vote on individually. The Board of Education accepts with thanks a donation in the amount of $6,700 $734.72 from the district staff to set up the Mary Malloy Scholarship Award, which will present a $500 award each year from 2021 through 2032 to a graduating high school senior with special needs, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Smith. Are there any questions or comments?
Just thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The Board of Education accepts with thanks a donation in the amount of $3,449 from Meadow School PTA to be used toward the purchase of playground equipment at Meadow Elementary School, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Mr. Smith,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Coles. Are there any questions or comments? All
Thank you.
those in favor?
I have a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mrs. Dreska.
Mrs. Reed had a question.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can just ask later. I'm just kind of concerned about the PTA donating funds for playground equipment. Are they allowed to do that?
Good question.
We can certainly,
Good question.
we can certainly check.
Okay, do you want to table this?
Can Mary,
Yes.
Mrs.
Ms. Coles?
O'Hagan, is it okay if I just, I'm not, Mrs. Reed, completely sure of the answer, but I know that PTAs cannot raise funds for playgrounds, but they may in fact be able to donate monies that they already had toward playground equipment. But certainly we clarify, they can't
don't
raise it.
I don't want to like not have this happen because the kids need the equipment, but I don't want them to find themselves in a sticky place where they have done something that goes against their PTA tenets.
So why don't you let me check and then you can table it and we can put it on the October agenda.
Okay, and how do we do that? We need a vote to table, Mrs. Hobbs?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to table item 3?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed, second by
Mrs. Dreska.
Mrs. Dreska.
It's item number 3, right?
It is.
Yes.
It is. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, no use of facilities report. Okay. The Board of Education approves the memorandum of agreement with the Nassau County Board of Elections for the rental of the DS200 scanning machines and AutoMark machine for the October 1, 2020 Innovation 2020 bond referendum as detailed in the Friday mailing. Mrs. Hobbs, I'm sorry.
I just want to ask Dr. Kami, are we doing this as addended?
Yes.
So Mrs. O'Hagan, it would be as addended
As addended, I'm sorry.
with the,
Memorandum of agreement as addended with the Nassau County Board of Elections for the rental of DS200 scanning machines and AutoMark machine for the October 1, 2020 Innovation 2020 bond referendum as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Smith,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Reed. Are there any questions or comments? Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Aye.
The Board of Education approves the renewal of the contract with Professional Innovative Programs, or PIP, to provide a computerized voting system and technology support for the October 1, 2020 Innovation 2020 bond vote, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Smith,
Second.
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Reed. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the Board of Education appoints, and we need one of us to be the chairperson for the October Innovation 2020 referendum. Do I see hands up? Mrs. Reed?
I'll volunteer.
Oh, wonderful. Is anybody going to fight her for the honor? No. Board of Education approves Karen Reed as the chairperson for the October 1, 2020 Innovation 2020 bond referendum.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed.
Seconded.
By Mr.
Second.
Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Should let that go.
Motion carries. The Board of Education approves registrars, assistant clerks, and inspectors for the Innovation 2020 bond referendum to be held on Thursday, October 1st, 2020, as addended, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Reed,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Smith. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Board of Education, we need to designate delegates, a delegate and an alternate voting delegate for the NISBA annual meeting. Again, hands up.
We're not all attending, right? So would only be amongst those of us who are attending. I'm one of the attendees. I'm happy to do it.
I am attending, I'll do it too. So is everybody good with that? Okay. Okay. Then the Board of Education designates Thomas Smith as voting delegate and Mary Jo O'Hagan as alternate voting delegate to the 2020 NISBA annual meeting.
So moved.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Reed, seconded by
Seconded.
Mrs. Dreska. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
guys.
The Board of Education approves the amended reorganization minutes from the July 1, 2020 reorganization meeting, which now includes the new Lennox principal and new district clerk, as detailed in the Friday mailing.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Dreska,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Smith. Comments? Questions?
Pam, say hi to everybody.
Welcome, Pam.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello, Baldwin.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mrs. O'Hagan, is it okay before you get to the last thing, the proposed resolutions? I missed something and I just want to backtrack if that's okay with you.
Certainly.
I just want to share with the board and with our community. I sent out a letter today, the passing of one of our teachers who's been a beloved physical education teacher in Baldwin for more than 20 years. Mr. Rich Klosek he was a physical education teacher and a coach in our school system. He was a beloved teacher and a beloved coach. And unfortunately, he passed away 2 days ago. My heart and my condolences go out to his family. It goes out to our entire community who will miss him deeply. A letter went out to the community today. A letter went out to staff today with details, but I would be remiss if I did not mention it, and also just really on behalf of the district administration and the board, really send the family our deepest sympathies and condolences. And I would just ask for just a minute of silence in his name. Thank you.
Okay. You know, I have to admit, I did not realize that the discussion of resolutions would be on this evening's agenda. I don't have, I don't know if everyone is prepared to have that conversation. let me just, ask.
Then if you need to, you have, there is.
Yeah, we have another opportunity, and I know that we got the resolutions electronically, but it's 40 pages, and I have not perused it carefully yet. Let me know what the rest of you think. Are you okay with postponing that conversation until October, till we have the time to look at them?
I think tabling till October sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
I'm good with that too.
Let's do that then. We'll take that and we'll move it to the October meeting, and we'll have a little more time to prepare.
Do we need to vote to table it?
No. Okay. Okay, then let me announce some of the upcoming dates, and then if anyone has anything under other. Between now and our next meeting, there will be 2 meetings of the Baldwin Civic Association, one on Thursday, September 10th, and the next one on Thursday, October the 8th. There are a number of Know Your School nights. I'm not going to read them all. They are, I'm guessing, posted on the website. Are they on the calendar as well?
Yes, and all virtual.
Okay. And there will be a middle school open house for grade 5 parents on Friday, October the 2nd. Schools are closed on Monday, September 28th. And our next Board of Education meeting is Wednesday, October 14th. Fingers crossed it will be at 8 o'clock at Brookside School. Does anyone have anything under other? Okay. Dr. Kami, do we have any questions from the public that we need to address before we close the meeting?
We did not get any questions by noon today.
Okay. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mrs. Reed, moved by Mrs. Reed,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Smith. Favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.